We're going to go through the basic principles of sales. The basic principles. Basic principles. Number one, be in control. EJ, I've never been to your house, correct? If I came to your house, Super Bowl's coming up. I'm coming to EJ's Super Bowl party, okay? I come to EJ's Super Bowl party. I've never been to your house. Would you just be like, yeah, throw your jacket down and then go grab a beer from the fridge? I don't know where your closet is, right? I don't know where your beer fridge is. I don't know where anything is. Would you do that, or would you show me around and take control of the situation? Right? You'd say, oh, here's my house, and you'd give me a little tour. Isn't that what we all love to do, is little tours of our house? Even if it's just a room. Here's my house. It's a room. Yet every day in sales, in our dealerships, we let customers come into our house that have never been there before, haven't bought a car in 5 years, and let them show us around the dealership. They grab us and they're okay, how much is that car? Well, I don't know because I haven't got my price sheet yet. Okay, well, let me find that. And how about that one? And do you have it in blue? And do you have it in red? And they're asking all the questions. How much is my trade worth? I don't know. The other day, my boss bought a car like yours for $5,000. Oh, so it's worth $5,000? Sure. They're not in control. It's your house. You want them to be comfortable, yes? So take control. You have to take control by being the one that asks the questions. You ask the questions. Not them grabbing you by the hand. You've seen this in sales, right, before? Grab a new salesperson by the hand, basically not really allowed to touch anybody anymore, but metaphorically, they grab them by the hand. They're like, well, how much is that one? And 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 does this one have that? And does this one have that? Good, thank you. Do you have your business card? Dismissal slip? Yes. Okay, give me the dismissal slip and on my way. Does that help a customer? Does it waste their time? So you want to be the one acting, asking the questions, and the customer you want responding. So to be in control, you ask the questions. To do this, you're going to need to know how to not deal with questions you don't want to deal with right now. What are some things at the beginning of the sales process, Ty, that you don't want to deal with right now? Price. Okay. So price, what else? Finance rates. Rates. What's your rates? Right? Trade value. Right? Discounts. So we need a system and a way and a procedure to answer the questions, but move on and gain control back. They used to teach when I started selling cars, I call it the Jedi mind trick, right? Customers say, well, how much is my trade worth? Don't worry about that. We'll get to that later. We haven't even picked the car you're looking at, right? What does that feel like to a customer when you do that to them? When they ask a question, you say, don't worry about it. Is that build the trust or break it? Seems kind of shady, doesn't it? Yeah, you're being deflective. You're ignoring what they're saying. What's the interest rate on that? Again, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Don't worry about the rate. We haven't even picked the car you want yet, right? What's my trade? What's the price? What's the best discount? Don't worry, don't worry, don't worry. This guy's really fucking worried now. You won't tell him anything, right? You can't do that. So the way to do this, the way to answer these questions but gain control is to bypass. Has anybody ever heard of this? Bypassing? You've heard it? Joe Verdi, right? I think it's Joe Verdi trained it. Someone trained it. Anyways, bypass. So the first step of bypassing is answer the goddamn question. It's not hard. Answer the question. What's my trade worth? Hey, man, that's a great question. You know what? We are constantly looking for good trades like yours. And if honestly I knew the trade value of every single car in the world, depending on kilometers, all those things, I would own this entire block, right? No, the great thing is I have a person who will fully appraise your car, do a full comprehensive look at it, and tell you exactly what it's worth, not only in Canada, but in our market. And we might even end up putting it on TradeRev, which is a tool we use to see how to maximize your trade value. Speaking of your trade, are you looking for something the same size, or do you want to move up to a bigger vehicle this time? Right? So I bypassed, I answered the question. I didn't say, don't worry about it. I gave reasons why I can't really tell you the trade value right now. I answered the question. I bridged with, speaking of, that reminds me, by the way, that's a great question. Now let me ask you. And then I ask a question. I get control back. See, it's really simple. A, B, C. Acknowledge, bridge, control. What's the interest rate? The interest rate really depends on the term that you choose, money down, different special programs that we might have at the time. Great news is I have 12 different banks that we deal with. Is it 12 or more than that, Cal? More than that. I have 20 million banks I deal with, okay? And I'm going to fight to get you the best rate. That reminds me, are you thinking of leasing or financing this time? Well, I want to lease. Perfect. And then you go right back into another question. The thing that most amateur salespeople do is they don't follow up a question with another question. It's like if we were boxing, right? Adam and I are boxing. He throws a punch. What's my trade worth? And I say, hey, I block it. That's a great question. We have an appraiser on site. He's going to give you a full evaluation. Speaking of, were you looking for something bigger or smaller this time? Boom! Right? And he goes, oh, I'm looking for something smaller. And then I'm like, waiting for his next question. If you did that in boxing, you get the shit kicked out of you. I need to boom, 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 and hammer him, right? Oh, I'm looking for something a little bit bigger. Okay, are you driving with your family then, or a couple kids, wife in the car, or are you driving normally solo by yourself? Actually, always with my wife and kids. Oh, perfect. How old are your kids? Oh, my kids are 6 and 8. Oh, awesome. I have 6 kids that are 6 and 8 too. Does it sound like a conversation now? Starting to build rapport? Do I have control back? Yes or no? Yes. Right? Super important. Don't just say, don't worry about that. We have to find the perfect vehicle before we deal with that. The customer is saying it because it means something to them. Right? And if I keep the first question, if I ask the first question and I just wait for them to answer one, they might do this. So what's my trade worth? Well, you know what? That's a great question. And I have an appraiser on site who's going to give you a full valuation. By the way, are you looking for something bigger or smaller this time? Oh, looking for something smaller. What's the best price on something smaller? Oh, shit, I got to do bypass again. Well, the best price really depends on a lot of things. Money down, if you take one that's in stock right now versus a factory ordering one, and blah, 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 blah. Speaking of best price, are you looking for something fancy this time or something a little bit more basic? Well, I want something really fancy. Okay. What's the interest rates? You see how if you don't follow up your questions and keep in control, you're going to have to go through all this stuff. Okay? So that's number one of the basic principles. Number two, share the process, man. The best people in the world are dentists at sharing the process. When you go to the dentist, they tell you, when you're getting a filling or whatever it might be, they tell you, okay, I'm gonna just swab the gum and we're gonna numb that a little bit. You know, okay, and they come and they swab the gum and you're good. And then they take out a needle that's this long, and they go, you're gonna feel a pinch. And what do you feel? A pinch. And then you're gonna freeze up, and then they put on that rubber clampy dammy thing, right? And it's gonna feel a little bit of pressure when I put that on. Okay, I feel pressure. Good. Okay, and we're going to start drilling now. You're going to hear the drill, so don't freak out. And you feel it. They tell you you're going to happen, right? If you ever have a root canal, then they start setting your mouth on fire and smoke comes from your mouth. And they tell you there's going to be smoke coming from your mouth. Don't freak out. Imagine if they didn't do that. They just came at you. Okay, here we go. And zing, and smoke's coming out of your mouth. You would be like, what the frick is happening, man? There's smoke coming from my mouth. We do that to our customers all the time. We know the process, but we don't share the process with them. Turn on the light. Who here has kids again? Okay, any of your kids ever scared of the dark? Were they ever scared of the dark? Yeah? What do you normally do when they're scared of the dark? You put a little, you tell them, don't be a wimp, stop being scared of the dark. No, you put on a little nightlight. Because what are they scared of? What they can't see, what they don't know. What are our customers scared of? The stereotypes, the monsters, the salespeople. What they don't know about this process. Share the process with them. Here's what's going to happen. Right? If I said to you, Joseph, we walked in and say, hey, welcome to Applewood. My name's Brent. You are Joseph. Good, good. Hey, have you ever been to our store before? No? Oh, perfect. So let me explain what I'm going to do for you today. My job is to take the thousands of cars that we have available today and narrow them down to the one that you'd like to drive home. Okay? Do you have a vehicle that you're going to be trading in, or are you adding to the fleet?
Depends on my trade value.
Of course, yeah. If we don't give you enough, I don't think you're going to probably trade it in with us, right? Perfect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions, find the perfect vehicle, right? You probably already have a little bit of knowledge on what you want. You've probably done some research, right?
Kind of.
Yeah. He's lying. See, buyers are liars. He's done 90 days of research, this lying bastard. Anyways, right? And hey, so what I'm going to do is ask you a whole bunch of questions, right? I'm going to take some notes because I don't want to miss anything. I want to make the most use of your time. And while we drive your new car, I'm going to have our appraiser take a look at your car. When you get back, we'll go through the numbers together and find one that fits the budget. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
What's he going to say to that? Does that sound fair? No. That doesn't sound fair. Like that'd be crazy. Nobody would say that. I set the stage. Right? And they say, okay, come over to my desk. I just want to take some notes. And you pull out a guest sheet and you gather all the information. Right? So set the stage, turn on the light, let them know what's going to happen. Right? When it's taking a little bit of time to get in the finance office because it's a busy Saturday, you don't tell them, it's only 5 more minutes. When you know well and good that the finance manager literally just took another customer and they're going to be in there for 45 minutes. Oh, it's only going to be 5 minutes because you're scared. Set the stage. You know what? They just took another customer. So why don't I order us some lunch? Right? Have you eaten yet? No? Okay, perfect. Lunch is on me today. Are we eating healthy or are we eating garbage? Let's go. Right? But set the stage properly. Right? Share the process. We have tools, amazing tools. And those have been sales managers. You've been harped on your entire career about the CRM, right? Why did you put it in the CRM? Why are salespeople not using the CRM? We literally have freaking tools where you take a driver's license and you scan it and it puts it in there for you. It can't be faster, right? But we don't do it. So if I was sharing the process, hey man, I'm just going to scan your license, going to put everything in there. I'll have a few more questions. Nice thing is I'm not going to take a photocopy of your license right now. It's not going to be lying around. We don't want anybody to steal your identity. And after 6 months, if you don't purchase from us, it's actually going to remove your identification from our system. Keep it nice and secure. Does that sound fair? Most of us say, I have to scan your license because it's a policy and a procedure here. It's policy and procedure that I scan your license. Really? Customers, you guys like policies and procedures? Do you ever go to Walmart to return something? And they say, our policy is that we don't accept returns without receipts. Do you give a shit about their policy? No. Right? And they're like, how do we know you bought it here? It's literally a Walmart branded thing. I didn't buy it at Safeway or Superstore. Right? Piss me off over policy and procedures. No, explain to me, sell to me why I want to let you scan my license. Why it saves me time and money. Right? Share the process. Number 3, plan for a sale. Plan for a sale. I have a customer coming in at 4 o'clock today to look at a brand new Sorrento. Would it make sense that I have a brand new Sorrento, cleaned, gassed, and ready to go for the appointment? Yes or no? Yes. How many times, Water, in your career have you seen the salesperson when the appointment shows up, now scrambling to get the car ready. Lots of time. What does that show the customer? You're not prepared. You don't give a shit about their time. So we used to call this what we know in advance, we do in advance. I'm saying let's plan for a sale. Let's get everything ready. Let's have it all ready. When I have a customer coming in, right, that is a credit customer, a credit issue customer, right, Cal? Maybe it's good for your team to be like, hey, when you come in, make sure you bring your pay stubs and your void check and all your things. Let's plan to sell this car today. Not, hey, let's come in with none of that shit and then let me chase you for 10 days. So plan for a sale. Be prepared. Be ready. If you have an appointment, have the car ready, cleaned, warmed up, cooled down, right? Have the cables ready to connect to CarPlay and Android Auto. Be ready. 95% of the salespeople out there do this wrong. Customer comes in at 4 o'clock, says, I'm here to see Bob. And Bob comes out smoking from the back. Oh, I'll stomp that out. Hey, how you doing? I'm Bob. Everything's good here. Yeah. Hey, Bob, I had an appointment with you. Oh, okay. Let me go get that car. And Bob runs to the back. And he's like, and the car won't start. Right? Or the car smells like garbage. Or the engine light's on. Or it has no gas. What are Bob's chances of selling that car? Low or high? Say it again. Low, very low. And if he does sell the car, what's the only way he's going to sell that car? With no profit. He's going to say to his customer, here's a bell. When I get low enough, ring the bell. Right? That's his sales pitch. And he's like, Nick again, this guy, I can't make any money under him. Right? And it's all Nick's fault. You see how he does the deal? I had to give all the gross away. It's not my fault. And Nick watched the whole thing unfold. The customer coming in, standing there saying to his wife, can you believe this guy? I said I was going to be here at 4. Now I'm waiting 15 minutes to even test drive the car. And then his blood-sucking, gross-sucking fangs come out. And he wants all the money if he's going to do a deal with you. And this last one needs to become your mantra in sales. I want you to write this down in big capital letters. Treat a buyer like a buyer and they buy. Write that down. Treat a buyer like a buyer and they buy. Treat a buyer like a buyer and they buy. One amazing thing that you're living through in the car business is highly qualified, highly vetted customers. They've done 90 days of research. They've sent email leads in. They've prearranged financing. They come in and we're like, we play guess the buyer. Oh, look at this guy. This guy couldn't finance the steam off a hot dog, right? Look at this guy. What a loser. He ain't buying a car. Jason, you're up, buddy. And Jason's the new guy, right? Jason's the new guy. So he sells them full gross, right? Boom. He was a laydown. Because he's the new guy. The new guy can't sell anything, but the new guy is so naive and so stupid that he treats every customer like, if they came to the dealership, they must be buying a car. And amazingly, he treated them like a buyer. And what happened? They bought. But it's only because he's a new guy. And it's only because they're a laydown. I get all the hard customers. Yeah, beginner's luck, man. It's only because Jason's brand new and naive. Treat a buyer like a buyer, and they will buy. Do not play guess the buyer. Nobody wins. Nobody wins when you play guess the buyer. Treat a buyer like a buyer, and they buy. That should be your mantra as you're walking up to them. Treat a buyer like a buyer, and they buy. Treat a buyer like a buyer, and they buy. Treat a buyer like a buyer, and they buy. Hey, how you doing? I'm Brent. Treat a buyer like, I shouldn't have said that out loud. Right? But if you treat every customer like they were there to purchase, you'd sell more cars. It's that simple. It is that simple. Then you would go through have you ever had a customer come in and go, I just wrote off my car and I need to purchase and drive home a new one today? Have you ever had that? Yeah. What do you normally do? You treat them like a buyer. That's the 5% laydown customer that is telling you, I have to buy a car. The 85% of the people need to make sense before they buy a car. But if you treat them like buyers, they will buy cars. So those are the basic principles of selling is be in control. You're the one asking the questions. To do that, sometimes you're going to need to bypass, right? Share the process with them. Set the stage. Turn on that light for them. Let them come in from the dark and enjoy your warm embrace. Okay? Plan for a sale and treat buyers like a buyer, and they buy.